Whoa, that was a big bear that came through here last night. Anyways, so before we get started on this, I just wanted to mention that make sure that anytime you're messing with anything electrical on your car, especially airbags, that you disconnect your battery, all right? I'm not a mechanic. I'm just telling you as a word of advice. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it, all right? So here we go.
Hey YouTube, welcome back to part 4 on the Hemi. Today we will be fixing a few broken items. First, the multifunction switch and the clock spring. So this is our original clock spring. As you can see, this part is broken and it is the part that cancels the turn signal. This clock spring is over $300 to replace. And this multifunction switch is also bad. It's another $80 for this switch. We went to our local junkyard and found an entire steering column. The good thing about this is that it's everything we need and it was only $70.
This is a telescopic steering column. So there is the telescopic control. There's the multifunction switch that is bad on ours. And right here is the cruise control switch. This has a good clock spring. Alright, so what we're doing here is we are taking these screws out just far enough so this clock spring doesn't move on us. We don't want it to move because if not, that will possibly break or
We have all the parts we need right here. Now we're going to put it on our car.
Alright, it's time to remove this old one right here. And with this loose, all we have to do is that comes out and it's just a plug harness back there. Out with that one, and then right here Millie has a new one. Go ahead and place a new one on, son. Just straight, slowly. You got it. Hang on, stop. Carefully gonna place this one in until it clicks in place there. Perfect. All right. Alright, that's Alright, so with this all tightened up now, we're gonna put our original steering wheel back on. And you have to make sure that this right here is at 12 o'clock, and then also on the steering wheel that top line will line up with the keyway that's in there. And I made sure that the wheels were straight on the car before I took this off. Alright, so this side had a little bit of thread lock that was put on there, so we're going to go ahead and do the same here before we insert our bolt.
cue the music.
All right. Now that our bolt is tightened, we're going to go ahead and plug in all our harnesses here. And then next thing we're going to do is get our airbag and plug that in.
Don't worry about messing up the connections because they are color-coded brown and black.
All right, now with everything all plugged up, our harnesses are secure. This is the horn. Don't forget to plug that one in, or you'll be finding yourself taking this apart to do it again. This right here, just slide it right in. And the two 10mm bolts that I pulled out, holding it, securing the airbag, go right back here. All right, now we've finished tightening up these bolts. These are 10mm. That's good. We should be ready to go. Now we have to plug in our battery and test it. Make sure that our turn signal cancels out now. It's so loud here. Alright, so everything is hooked up. Now we have to just plug in the battery and then be able to test this. If everything is working right, then our turn signal will cancel every time that we make a left or a right. And also our multi-function switch will work, which before you would turn on the wipers and they would stay on, and then you'd have to mess with the switch until it would turn off. So hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Moment of truth. Well, airbag didn't pop. That's a good sign. All right, that's nice and tight there. So I gotta say, before I did this, I did have an airbag light on right there. I'm not sure, but I think maybe because that clock spring was bad, might have something to do with it. Hopefully that took care of that problem. But for right now, I'm gonna take it for a cruise, make sure everything's fine. Turn that blinker on, son. The left blinker. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, so it does cancel out now. That's a good thing. Turn to the right, blinker. Beautiful. So that did fix our blinker not canceling on a turn. So we got somewhere today. Sweet. Well, that's all fixed and working fine for us now. Next thing we're going to address right here is the lock, the actuator, the motor. It'll unlock it, but it will not lock it. So, and it's only sometimes. So that just leads me to believe that it is a little motor. We've purchased a new one, so I'm going to pull off this panel and get to it. So we're going to start by removing this door panel right here. Just a couple screws right here, Phillips right there, a couple of trim clips. And we'll yank on the door and get the panel off. So there's a little trick to these tabs right here, these trim clips. They'll be flush against this when they're locked, and so to get them out, you just push it in a little bit, and then that allows you to actually pop it right off. So then when you go to reinsert it, you're going to want this to be out here like this. You're going to place it back in here and then push it in so it locks in place. Right under the door handle there is a little cap that folds down That also has another Phillips screw. Alright, so after a few screws and a little bit of prying here and there, the panel is finally off. We'll have to pull these clips off and reattach them to the door here so we can get it secured nice and tight. This is where the door lock actuator is mounted. This is our brand new one right here. This was purchased off of eBay. It wasn't too expensive. I want to say it's about $30, made by Dorman, and should be pretty simple. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with unbolting this right here. Look like they might be some T25, T30, and we'll get this put in. So it is indeed a T30. I'm just gonna remove these bolts right here. After you remove the 3 bolts, this will pretty much be ready to pull out, with the exception that you have to disconnect the little harness that goes to it, and then these 2 rods, one for the lock up and down, and then also for the one that actually releases the door open. So here we have the old door lock actuator. As you can see, these clips hold on these rods. So all you have to do is, with a small screwdriver or a flathead, just pop those off. If you break them, it's okay, don't worry. The new actuator actually comes with brand new ones. So sometimes when you break these, you're out of luck, and then you have to run down to the parts store and pray that they have them. But at least this one comes with brand new ones. So last thing to do here is remove one more of these and disconnect the harness. Alright, so in reverse order, we're just going to go ahead and start putting in all these screws and hooking up all the little rods. Alright, with everything back in place, all the rods have been reattached. It's time to place the door panel back on. We did remove those retainer clips off and put them back on the door panel there, so the door panel will be nice and snug against the door. So before you put the door panel back on, do not forget to reattach this rod right here, which is connecting to your handle to open it. You don't want to put everything back on and then realize that you forgot to hook up your door handle. Alright, and lastly, we give it a test here. Cool. It was getting really annoying having to unlock the car by key. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for part 4 of working on the 300. Not really a whole lot left to do on this car. I think the next thing we might do is upgrade the stereo to a Android aftermarket deck, because this one's still the factory one and it doesn't have cool things like Bluetooth. So we might be upgrading that soon, so stay tuned for that one. Thanks. Peace.